Hello, good morning. Today I will read the story of Dhammavara in the Dhammavara book as usual. Today I will read two stories of the Dhammavara. The first story is the story of Thera Channa, and the second story is the story of Thera Mahakappina. These two stories are a little bit long. Before, I usually read only one story if a story is a little bit long. But today, I will read two long stories for you to get more knowledge, experience, vision of the Dhamma. These two stories are very interesting. So, I hope you will get some benefit and knowledge from these two stories. Okay, let's read. The first story, the story of Thera Channa. While residing at the Jedavana monastery, the Buddha uttered verse 78 of this book with reference to Thera Channa. Channa was the attendant who accompanied Prince Siddhartha when he renounced the world and left the palace on horseback. When the prince attained Buddhahood, Channa also became a bhikkhu. As a bhikkhu, he was very arrogant and overbearing because of his close connection to the Buddha. Channa used to say, I came along with my master when he left the palace for the forest. At the time, I was the only companion of my master, and there was no one else. But now, Sariputta and Moggallana are saying, we are the chief disciples and are stretching about the place. When the Buddha sent for him and admonished him for his behavior, he kept silent but continued to abuse and taunt the two chief disciples. Thus the Buddha sent for him and admonished him 3 times. Still, he did not change. And again, the Buddha sent for Channa and said, Channa, these two noble bhikkhus are good friends to you. You should associate with them and be on good terms with them. Then the Buddha spoke in verse as follows. One should not associate with bad friends, nor with the vile. One should associate with good friends and with those who are noble. In spite of repeated admonition and advice given by the Buddha, Channa did as he pleased and continued to scold and abuse the bhikkhus. The Buddha, knowing this, said that Channa would not change during the Buddha's lifetime, but after his demise, Parinibbana, Channa would surely change. On the eve of his Parinibbana, the Buddha called Thera Ananda to his bedside and instructed him to impose the Brahma punishment, Brahma Danda, to Channa. For the bhikkhus to simply ignore him and to have nothing to do with him. After the Parinibbana of the Buddha, Channa learned about the punishment from Thera Ananda, felt a deep and bitter remorse for having done wrong, and he fainted 3 times. Then he owned up his guilt to the bhikkhus and asked for pardon. From that moment, he changed his ways and outlook. He also obeyed their instruction in his meditation on practice and soon attained Radhaship. The second story, the story of Thera Mahakappina. While residing at the Jedavana monastery, The Buddha uttered verse 79 of this book with reference to Thera Mahakappina. Mahakappina was the king of Kokutawati. He had a queen named Anoja. He also had 1,000 ministers to help him rule the country. One day, the king, accompanied by those 1,000 ministers, was out in the park. There, they met some merchants from Saudi. On learning about the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha from these merchants, the king and his minister immediately set out for Saudi. On that day, when the Buddha surveyed the world with his supernormal power, he saw in his vision Mahakappina and his minister coming towards Saudi. He also knew that they were due for a ridership. The Buddha went to a place 120 yojana away from Saudi to meet them. There, he waited for them under a banyan tree on the bank of the river Chandabaga. King Mahakappina and his minister came to the place where the Buddha was waiting for them. When they saw the Buddha with the six color rays radiating from his body, they approached the Buddha and paid homage to him. The Buddha then delivered a discourse to them. After listening to the discourse, the king and all his ministers attained Saddhabhati fruition, and they asked the Buddha to permit them to join the order. The Buddha, reflecting on their past and finding that they had made offerings of yellow robes in a past existence, said to them, "Ehi bhikkhu," and they all became bhikkhus. Meanwhile, Queen Anoja, learning about the king's departure for Saudi, sent for the wives of the 1,000 ministers, and together with them followed the king's trail. They too came to the place where the Buddha was, and seeing the Buddha with the halo of six colors, paid homage to him. All this time, the Buddha, by exercising his supernormal power, had made the king and his minister invisible so that their wives did not see them. The queen therefore inquired where the king and his ministers were. The Buddha told the queen and her party to wait for a while, and that the king would soon come with his ministers. The Buddha then delivered another discourse. At the end of this discourse, the king and his minister attained ridership. The queen and the wives of the minister attained Saddhavati fruition. At that instant, the queen and her party saw the newly admitted bhikkhus and recognized them as their former husbands. The lady also asked permission from the Buddha to enter the order of bhikkhunis. So they were directed to go ahead to Saudi. There they entered the order, and very soon they also attained a ridership. The Buddha then returned to the Jetavanam monastery accompanied by 1,000 bhikkhus. At the Jetavanam monastery, Thera Mahakappina, while resting during the night or during the day, would often say, "Oh, what happiness! Ahosukam." The bhikkhus, hearing him saying this so many times a day, told the Buddha about it. To them, the Buddha replied, "My son Kapina, having heard the taste of the Dhamma, lives happily with his free mind. He is saying these words of exaltation repeatedly with reference to Nibbana." Then the Buddha spoke in verse as follows: "He who drinks in the Dhamma lives happily with his free mind. The wise man always takes delight in the Dhamma, Paribhakya Dhamma, expounded by the noble ones, Ariyas." That's all today. I already finished reading the two story of the Dhammavada in the Dhammavada book. I hope after listening to this story, you also have met interesting in these two stories. Also, I hope you will get some benefits, knowledge, and wishes of the Dhamma. I hope after listening to this story, you will follow and practice according to these stories or according to teaching taught by the Buddha. If you follow and practice the Dhamma taught by the Buddha, you will get much benefits. Also, if you practice or meditation very diligently, your Dhamma will be improved a lot. And maybe one day Sotapana or Stagami, I hope so. Thank you all for your listening and your attention. Have a good day.